All right, go ahead.
All right. What up, everybody? It is once again time for the Crew Fan Sports Hour, brought to you by IceShaker.com. I'm Josh Philo here with us, Whitney Dowds, Ryan Collins, and special guest tonight, Joey Bloom, all the way in Chicago, a.k.a. Chi-Town, but he's not even there. He's in the hills, Vernon Hills. What up, Bloom? How you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
And I'm excited.
Nice.
We got a lot to talk about tonight. Justin Turner getting everybody pissed off. We got Daniel Jones doing his best Lamar Jackson impersonation and then failing. A lot going on tonight, boys.
Yeah, let's start with the Patriots versus 49ers. What did you think of the game? What's going on with our Patriots?
Terrible. I mean, at this rate, the way they're playing, they'll be lucky to win 2 games the rest of the year. I'm sorry to say that, but this offense cannot get anywhere.
I was telling Josh this. Isn't it crazy, like, to have a bad football team? Like, isn't it such a weird feeling? It's like, now you know how, like, every other sports team feels like every other year. It's like, oh, it's just so nuts to have a bad football team. It really is.
They were, like, in elementary school when last time they were, like, shitty, which is crazy. Like,
yeah, probably, yeah, when I was, like, 7.
I know I'm new to this, but I got a little bit of a different perspective on this. I think Cam still got it in him. I think Cam has the ability to look himself in the mirror, realize that he's been really screwing up lately, and I think he has the ability to rekindle that MVP season. And you know, he's in the right offense. He's got the right coaching, and you know, it's early. Who cares if Bill wins in freaking August, in September? Who cares? Do you guys care? You guys are die Pats fans. You guys don't care about those wins. You guys care about the big wins. And you know what? Cam Newton might be able to get you there if he gets healthy. So I haven't given up on Cam.
Yeah, I'm not like so much giving up on Cam. I think that like there is opportunity for him to, but it's the stuff that you would think that being a veteran quarterback that he's good at. Like, I'm not afraid, like, if he starts running more, I don't know why they're not making him run more. Like, it seems like he's, you know, every time they get him going with the, you know, rushing, he's at least getting a first down, but they're trying to keep him in the pocket. He's trying to prove something, I guess, by throwing the ball so much, and like he's just like missing guys by a lot. So what makes me nervous is, like, you know, like one of those interceptions, it's like tipped off, you know, he's, you know, that kind of interception I'm okay with, but it's the one where he's throwing a bomb downfield and he's missing the guy by 30 yards that I'm nervous about going forward. I think that they could probably hold on with their defense if he, you know, starts rushing more and starts making shorter passes and things like that. But it's obviously the receivers just aren't up to, you know, the caliber that we need as it is. And the offensive line isn't helping much either.
Looks like it was more Brady than Belichick, I guess. I don't know.
That's a dumb fucking argument too, because
the Bucs are going to the Super Bowl, dude. No, they're not. They're going to lose to the Eagles in the NFC Championship game.
But but there's so many other factors. Like, look at Brady last year playing with this caliber of team. Like, the offensive line struggles, and you know, the defense was better last year. You have a lot of players opting out this year. You have a lot of injuries, a lot of situations. So it's a different team, but at the same time, like, if you look at it from just like, would Brady be excelling on this team? No. And that's why he left.
They'd have more than 2 wins.
Absolutely not.
That the Bears beat Brady on Thursday Night Football.
That's true.
That's true.
Yeah, Khalil Mack definitely had the biggest influence on the field that day out of anybody.
Can't forget Akeem Hicks.
Yeah,
Akeem, the man down there. But yeah, you know, in the NFC, it's a toss up, and the way that the Packers looked against the Broncos, a team that, quite frankly, if you can beat them down defensively, they can be beat. You know, when they face these teams like that have no forces on defense, yeah, they're going to stop them. The Packers, yeah, they have a couple good players. Darius Smith, they got some good players, but they don't have a force.
Yeah.
And a force, you get stomped. And it was proven that Sunday. It really was.
Yeah, so we'll see how they do against the Bills. I mean, like, obviously a better defense there than probably the best defense that they've seen. So we'll see how that plays out on Sunday. How about the Eagles? Now, Joey, are you an Eagles fan?
I am a diehard Bears fan. My man,
Bears fan.
He's the Eagles man.
Yeah, I am.
Eagles because he's my brother.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
But I'm an honorary Eagus, he would call me.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I'm an honorary Eag.
Okay, so
you're not Ryan. You're not an honorary Eag, Ryan.
No, I don't give a shit about the Eagles, but okay, Eagles versus Giants. What do you think, Josh? What you got on that?
Ooh, are they playing the Cowboys?
I mean, Eagles versus Giants, yeah, last week, and then
last week. Oh yeah, well they pulled it out. Thank goodness. And I don't know, man. I mean, if the Eagles can play like they did the last 4 minutes of that game, the whole game, they'll like win out the rest. Run off the regular season and just roll through the playoffs. But that's been the biggest problem. They can't play consistently. So, but I was very encouraged and like, oh, they do know how to play football. Wentz knows how to pick the right spots and throw to the right dude. And all right. So that was encouraging.
Yeah. How about Deshaun Jackson again injured? What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, like, what the fuck? Like, come on, man. Like, I don't know why we signed him back. Like, I mean, he should just be a coach or something, But bad luck, And like they're trying to get a spark going. And he's like, the spark plug. Ooh, it's a good nickname. I don't know if that's his nickname.
You see Aguilar going off with the Raiders too.
Yeah, dude, it's ridiculous. Good for him though. I mean, like I think there's too much pressure on him. He came in like number 1 first round pick. There's a lot of pressure on him. They dropped a couple balls, and then it was just like snowball.
Let me save you, Fies. Let me save you because you're crashing and burning a bit with these names. You're forgetting one key name, Travis Fulgham. That kid is That kid is a stud, and I truly believe that in a division that is garbage, that has Andy Dalton, that has God knows who playing quarterback for him, and Washington football team that doesn't know what they're doing, and when Saquon coming back, it is the Eagles' division to lose, and Carson is balling his ass off. He is balling with players that God only knows, new players every week, and Travis Fulgham will be his most consistent player, and he might lead them to a division championship. Now, I don't know if they're going to win the playoffs, but you might be able to hoist a big, nice division champions T-shirt this season.
Yeah, there you go. That's good.
Sounds like a successful season to me. I mean, I don't know. I'd hang it up after
those shirts are in like the thrift stores in New England. You know that we don't even sell those in real stores. They're just like
well, they have to pull out some dead stock this year because they ain't gonna have shit this year.
Yeah, true. Okay.
No new T-shirts for a while. They can burn through all your extras.
All right, let's talk about the Eagles versus Cowboys. What are you expecting? Cowboys are really burning on fire in not a good way. And
it's shocking how shitty they are all of a sudden. Like I was like, okay, they're probably gonna win the East. And then all of a sudden, like Dak goes out and then like everything just unravels so quickly, it seems.
I mean, that's what happens when you lose your star, but at the same time, you still got Zeke, and I don't know why they're not getting Zeke more involved with the plays. It just seems like they're trying to force something in, and maybe they wanted to prove something with Andy Dalton that's just like not happening. Obviously now he's got to
right. No,
Yeah, so I don't even know what'd you say the quarterback's name is now? Like I forget his name, some strange name. But
Guccione?
yeah, something strange. But anyway, he's
Gucci! Gucci!
looks like he's going to be starting this week. But yeah, this is a important win for the Eagles, not only because if they lose, it's just so embarrassing, but obviously keeping their 6-9-1 record still alive.
Road to 6-9-1, boy. That's what they need to win. They're going to win the division with it. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and we got the Bills this week. Whitney, we already kind of talked about a little bit about that defense, but what can we expect from Cam Newton this week? What do you think they need to do to win?
I mean, Buffalo's weakness is their rush defense. And so I think if they want any chance of winning that game, they need to run it down Buffalo's throat. The problem is Buffalo knows that's our strength and will try to stop us. And unfortunately, outside of Edelman, who can you rely on the receiving corps?
I don't even know if you can rely on Edelman anymore, really.
Yeah.
Like the guy, it seems like at least one of the interceptions, I think it was Stidham's interception, actually. It reminded me so much of the interception that was a few weeks prior against the Chiefs. He just like gives up on the route and just is expecting that that the ball is just going to be incomplete, and then it ends up in a pick six or interception. So there's a lot I think Edelman has to do to step up as a veteran, but also, the trade deadline's coming up. Which team do you think will benefit the most from the trade deadline? Joey, you got any thoughts on it?
Trade deadline is I actually do think there's going to be some big names moved to the trade deadline. One of which is, I believe, at least team-wise, are going to be. I think the Patriots are going to make a move. I don't think there's a chance that Belichick, is content with 2-4.
You're going to move Gilmore.
Yeah.
I think there's a chance that he's in contact with Atlanta, trying to bring Matt Ryan in possibly. I'd love to see my Bears make a move. I don't know if they're going to be able to. I really wanted to see them kind of bring in possibly Le'Veon just to complement David Montgomery. But there's a lot of names that I feel that are going to get moved in. And as far as big stuff, I think the biggest impact could be a move to New England for a player like that.
Yeah, it seems like the Patriots either have to make a decision. They're either going to be just satisfied with the record that it is, which I agree with you, Belichick. It just doesn't seem to me like they're going to be satisfied with the record that it is. And like, even if they end up, squeaking into the playoffs somehow, it seems like they want to go down with at least some dignity. But the Eagles could definitely use someone just in the position that they're in. If they make a trade and they get someone just because of the division itself, any other year they shouldn't make any moves, right? Like but this year, because of the division and how bad it is, and them being in first place, seems like the Eagles can benefit a lot from it.
Yeah, go for like a DB or like an O lineman or something. That's what they really need. I mean, like they're kind of like cultivating this new receiving core with Greg Ward and Fulgham and then Richie Rogers of Packers fame is the tight end that he's out there making plays for him now. So I mean, yeah, if they're gonna do it, I mean, I don't know if it'd be a big name splash. I mean, I don't know what other corner. Well, I don't know what like cornerbacks are out there, or safeties are out there that you could pair with Slay, but that'd be a pretty nasty backfield, I would think, for the Eagles. But and they need help in the O line, but I don't know if you trade O lineman in the middle of the year. So
yeah, I think that if they can get a receiver, it's probably their best bet right now. If they can get somebody, it depends on who it is, though.
There are some O linemen that are on the trade block. I was actually reading an article about the Bears. They are looking into offensive line, so I'm sure the Eagles are too, because with the injury bad. They need some help there. So there are teams looking for offensive linemen for sure.
Yeah, Patriots are too because I mean, just thinking about like who they lost to COVID a couple weeks ago, injuries just in this. I mean, they literally had I think Joe Tooney get injured in this game, and then his backup got injured.
Yeah.
Late in the game too, and it's like one offensive lineman after another, and I'm like, we need someone like when they had Trent Brown a couple of years ago in the Super Bowl run. He stabilized that left tackle position, and we were able to run the ball down people's throats in the last 5 games of the season to get our 6th ring. We need. That's obviously not the only need we have, but that's probably the biggest one because Cam or Stidham or whoever is going to be a quarterback needs time to throw, needs time to actually be able to run out of the pocket. And without stabilization, regardless of whether it's the Eagles or the Patriots or anyone else at that position, you don't have a chance to get anywhere.
Yeah.
I had to say, I'm a Bears fan. I've been a Bears fan my entire life. I've never been a Patriots hater. I've always worshipped Tom Brady, and this last Sunday was one of the toughest games I've watched the Patriots play. I mean, it was rough. I mean, there was that shot of Cam Newton kind of like looking up to the sky, like praying, like, please, God, help me out here. And
yeah, he said after the game that he's also just like making himself like feel bad for himself too much, that he needs to just like rise to his own ability and just trust it, and that he's willing basically interceptions to happen because he's not confident in himself right now.
I mean, the guy's an MVP. The guy was an MVP throwing picks, making ballsy plays. Go out there and be yourself, man. That's what I say.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge fan of Cam. And if he can do that, Cam, Patriots can win the Super Bowl, no questions asked.
Yeah, I would like to get your opinion too on your quarterback situation with Nick Foles. What do you think about him for the rest of the year?
Big Dick Nick, what a beast.
If you would have asked me a week ago, I would have told you he was God. I'm very happy with Nick Foles. I think the Bears are in a position where, they've had many teams. The 06 team, they had a fantastic defense, but the quarterback couldn't play. And, they had, 85 even. Jim McMahon was the punky QB. He played good enough to win. I think Nick Foles is good enough to make the plays in when it matters most if the defense can hold up. I don't want to rub it in your faces. I know you guys are Pats guys, but when it mattered most, he stepped up, and I know.
Yeah, he did.
Fire's over there with the biggest grin on his face in the world, but he's. Do I wish that the Bears had the Pat Mahomes? I'd be an idiot not to say that. But at the same time, maybe it was meant to be. Maybe it was meant to be a Chicago Bears football where we play defense and we, grit out a win and we win by 2 points and that kind of a thing. Maybe we're not going to beat someone 40-20, and that's just kind of how. Unfortunately, and I don't want to get on this rant, the McCaskies have built their franchise, and I'm against it, and I hope that one day that someone becomes in charge that kind of flips the script a little bit. But I like the way they're moving. I think they looked like crap last night, Monday night, but it's tough being a Bears fan.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because like with their record, like it's the only like football team that can have that record, and like still Bears fans are like, oh no, like something's about to happen.
All Bears fans, it's the media.
Yeah,
looking at 5-1, and I'm going, fuck yeah, baby, I'm ready. The media is like, well, they've only played this guy, and I don't know about this, and it's tough. It's tough. Well, maybe one day we'll shock the world.
Yeah, I mean, this year seems like they could do it if Nick Foles gets going at the depending on Allen Robinson, his health and everything like that going forward this week against the Saints. I think he might be injured, but
Big game.
yeah, so big game for them this week against the Saints. I think that with that defense going after there's been issues with Breeze and his passing ability. So we'll see. The big guy though is obviously Kamara. We'll see how they can defend against that. That's kind of always been the issue going up against the Saints.
Taysom Hill too.
Yeah, luckily it looks like Michael Thomas, I don't know what's going on with him, and he's out every single week. He might be a guy that ends up getting traded, even though Peyton says there's no way that they're trading him and everything. It's just like, I don't know what the guy always seems to have some sort of issue, whether it's disciplinary actions or it's an injury or whatever's going on. I don't even know if he's technically playing this week. He might be out again week 8. So
I'm just going to say it. I think he's just being a little bitch.
Yeah, he's got that contract. He knows what he's doing. I think there's.
Yeah, he got his money, man. It's like, whatever. See, money changes people, man. He's like, whatever. You should have opted out. Just like, if you don't want to play, you should have opted out. Just been like, don't doing this little dance.
Yeah, sometimes the money can change players, right? Like, you get a big contract like that, you get all that money guaranteed, and then, like you stop running so hard and you're jogging around. That was the most thing that I noticed about the Patriots. I've never seen Patriots players like that, like jogging on the field, it seemed like last week.
They never paid them. They never paid them well.
Well, regardless, they've always, hustled and tried to get open, but it looked like, especially last week playing against the 49ers, they were just like jogging around, Edelman included. So obviously a veteran needs to step up and get something going. But
Belichick's losing the locker room.
There was a clear non-Patriot football in that game.
Something's happening.
You watch a Patriot football game, and there's a punt, and there's 5-6 guys right on the punt. You watch the Patriots game now, and it's like, maybe I'll get there, and I'm gonna chuck my helmet on the sideline, and it's just not the same. It's and that's not 20 years of dominance, and it's all of a sudden it's like, just because Tom Brady's gone, are you gonna give up? Like,
I don't know what it is specifically. They just like, the record definitely sets in a little bit, I think. But if you look at them versus like the Eagles and like the way that those guys are playing, I mean, it's just like a clear difference. But I guess that's what happens when you're in first place with what, I don't know, 2 wins, 3 wins, how many?
Hey, we'll take it.
True.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the World Series. So the Dodgers able to win the World Series. Yeah, give it up for them. Great performance of just not only offense, but managing pitchers, and it was a duel, I think, between both managers as far as like when to take guys out. In the last game, it seems kind of interesting that Snell gets taken out in the position that he is. How well he was throwing, and then that very inning, Dodgers capitalize and score a couple runs, and then of course Mookie Betts gets the exclamation point, which everyone, I'm tired of hearing about him. Really, like I just don't care anymore. Like they did what they did. They traded him. They got rid of him. Like it's just like just let it go at this point. I'm tired of every single New England sports writer talking about Mookie Betts instead of talking about the team that we have to rebuild and have next year. So what do you think, Whitney? I know you're a Mookie fan, and I am too, but what do you think about just like talking about the trade and everything like that over and over and over again?
Yeah, it does get old after a while. It's unfortunate that he's gone. But the Red Sox also had bigger problems. I'm sorry, they did. Pitching has been a problem the last 2 years. Um, their offense is hit or miss at times, but the pitching is definitely the bigger problem. Um, they didn't really answer that problem this year at all, but they also had other circumstances as well. So unless they get a better bullpen and unless they get better pitching, it doesn't matter who you get offensively. You're not going anywhere, especially with Tampa and the Yankees in your division.
Yeah, um the the focus this year has to be on rebuilding, like not only the pitching staff but also like where they're going to move around guys. Like Jackie Bradley Jr. has his contract coming up. They're going to let him go into free agency, which I think is probably better for him than staying with the Red Sox, honestly. But who's going to fill that spot? They, Fenway's a very unique ballpark, obviously, and the outfield matters a lot depending on, like who you put out there and how especially center field there with the weird triangle and playing off the wall and everything like that. So are you going to put somebody like Chavis out there and just like hope that his bat continues to be good and, just rely on, maybe get rid of Benintendi, I don't know, and rely on some of the upcoming prospects instead of, but to compete with the guys, especially, the Rays and the way that they played this year. And, oh, you gotta remember with like a lot of these seasons starting later with COVID, there's less time to prepare for the next season, right? Like NBA starts pretty soon. Again, it's gonna be here before you know it, and then hockey, is supposed to start pretty soon. Like, teams have less and less time to prepare, less times to make those deals. So we'll see what happens with that. We got Antonio Brown officially signing his contract with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Again, a name that I'm just tired of hearing about, but at the same time, it's a little bit different him going to the Bucs versus any other team this year, just because of how well that the Bucs are doing and him rejoining Tom Brady. So, Josh, you got any thoughts on this?
I mean, from what I hear, like Bruce Arians was like the only one that like was like, yeah, we don't want him, we don't need him, we don't have room for him. And then all of a sudden they get Brady, and they're like, oh, we need him, there's room for him, and we're happy to have him. So I find that interesting. I find it. I mean, if that's really what's going on, I guess
his first,
he's like
not to interrupt you, but I guess
for him.
Not to interrupt you, but I guess his first practice today, Arians was saying how like good Brown was and was like praising him. But is it any doubt in your mind? Is there any doubt in your mind that that Tom Brady's pulling the strings there?
I mean, maybe to an extent he's got some sort of influence, but I just don't understand why like he would champion him for like that. Like they played together for what, like 2 weeks?
To me, it's just another shot at New England for me. It's just he wants to bring Antonio Brown because it didn't work with the Patriots, and he probably wanted to keep Brown, and when they dropped him, it was more of an ego thing for Kraft. So I think that he wants to prove that he can, make it work with Antonio Brown. Joey, what do you think?
I've been an Antonio Brown fan forever, long before all the craziness happened, and I'm a strong believer in second chances. And to be completely honest with you, I was really surprised that he didn't sign with Seattle. I was really expecting to, that relationship that he developed with Russell, and it really seemed like Russell wanted him to be there. I then saw a report that said Seattle really didn't have much interest in him. It was more Russell. I'm glad to see him get another shot. I think that he, he's a messed up individual. I think that he's got God-given talent that is unmatchable. And why let the man sit at his house and not be able to show off his God-given talent? And if anyone's going to bring it out of him, it's going to be Tom Brady.
Yeah, he
So
has been able to keep off of social media and be able to just kind of focus on football, and it seems like that's what he needs to do. It's just with Chris Godwin this week, he broke his finger, so it will be interesting how he fits into the. I guess he can play in week 9, right? Like he can't even play this week. Technically.
right in.
Yeah. So we'll see. We got a couple other matchups this week. 49ers versus Seahawks. I don't know if you guys watched the Sunday night game, Seahawks versus Cardinals, but it's probably like one of the best games of the season. Was actually surprising. Like, at the end of the game, before they went to overtime, they were talking about this is the first time that the game has been tied. And I was like, oh, holy shit. Like it just seemed like one of those games that it was tied going back and forth, but it wasn't. That was the first time that the game had been tied at that point. Again, for me, Russell Wilson it seems like he's choking at the end of the games, especially in overtime games and games when it's actually on the line. But I know going forward, Seahawks versus Cardinals, if that happens again, I don't know that the same result happens necessarily. Whitney, what do you think?
I mean, Arizona has had no fear going into Seattle and winning. In fact, I don't know how many years it's been, but they won in Seattle last year. I think they won the year before that too. Even when they had those great Seattle Seahawks teams, they went up there, and I think it was 2015, and had like a shootout with them, and just they're not afraid of, regardless of who's a quarterback or regardless of who is the head coach, of going up there and winning. So I'm not gonna discount that. And Kyler Murray has proven this year that he can win games against good opponents. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a really good matchup going forward when they play each other again. Um, and who's Seattle playing this week again?
They're playing 49ers.
49ers. Yeah, I think Seattle has the better team. 49ers defense, yeah, they were good last week, but again, it was against a receiving core that was either not able to get open or was injured. And not having to kill Harry didn't help either, but that's another conversation. So I think with DK Metcalf, David Moore, Tyler Lockett, I mean that's a hard trio to stop. And I just don't have confidence in San Francisco's secondary to stop him.
Yeah, it was surprising during the game how much, well, not surprising, but over DK Metcalf, how much Tyler Lockett got the ball on Sunday, because for the past little while, it's been Metcalf that's been the star there, but that's what happens when you double Metcalf and then you have no other option. Can we talk a little bit about DK Metcalf's run after this guy is obviously like a freak of nature. How teams passed on him, like I don't know how the Patriots just look at like that man and decide, like no, we just don't, we'll go with somebody else. I mean, N'Keal Harry at the time, I guess, stats wise was better, but I think if you look at like overall physique of a receiver, the way that he's running down the corner there is just pretty crazy. Daniel Jones also had a pretty insane run, but ended up in getting tripped up by the 20-yard line. Kind of, but funny situation. But it looked like, actually, Jones had the fastest run by a quarterback, 21.23 miles per hour versus Jackson's 21. I mean, both fast, obviously, but if you compare him to Tyreek Hill, 21.29, he's like right there with the fastest guy in the NFL, basically. So pretty impressive for him to run that fast, just finish it, I mean, maybe guys are running a little bit slower because they're preparing not to fall down, I guess. I don't know.
What he was doing. He was like, oh my God, I'm going to do it. Lifelong dream. And then he realized what was going on, and then he just started to shake a little bit, and then his knees went, and then everything just fell, and then you could see it. Like when they did the close up of his face, he like knew it was coming. He's like,
it is Halloween. Shit. It is Halloween time, so there are ghosts out on the field. If you ask Sam Darnold about that, he might be able to tell you something. But What do you think about Lawrence to the Jets? If that's going to happen, what will happen if Lawrence gets drafted by the Jets? Do you think he'll play for them, or do you think he'll do a Eli Manning and hold out?
I would. Shit. What do you think, Bloom?
I personally think that if he's smart, he's going to stay in school. I see no reason to. It's not just they have some pieces and add him and they're great. They have nothing. They had Jamal Adams, he's gone. They had Robbie Anderson, he's gone.
Yeah.
They had no playmakers on that team at all. They have a terrible head coach. A coach that I'm very familiar with in Chicago that didn't do dick, and the Jets are a joke. And if I'm Trevor Lawrence, I'm staying the heck away from the Jets. And I have no I'll play for anybody. I mean, any 1-15 team, just not the Jets.
Yeah, the funny thing is, like, you look at someone, coming in and turning around a franchise, and maybe he has the opportunity to do that, but it's not going to be with the Jets, right? Like, there's just no way that they're going to be able to be competitive and turn that around.
Well, ownership sucks, and the deck stacked against anyone that wants to try and prosper in that organization.
It's a joke. I mean, it's like walking into a convenience store that's about to shut down. It's like there's just nothing on the shelf. It's a joke, and it's bad.
Yeah, it's different too than, like, I was trying to compare him to Joe Burrow and coming into Cincinnati, but at least at Cincinnati they got receivers. And at least, he's actually a fan of Cincinnati. I think he grew up around there in Ohio. So at least he's, doing something he wants to play. But speaking of Joe Burrow, they are overplaying him in Cincinnati. If you notice how much, he's scoring ridiculously well in fantasy, and I'm happy for that. But if you think about just their record and where they're realistically going to be this season and the amount of snaps he's getting and everything like that, do you think that they need to watch that and maybe, not throw the ball so much, hand off the ball, or just let him loose? What do you think, Joey?
To be honest with you, and coming from a fellow Joey B, I think that they should let the kid air it the hell out. I really do. I think the kid's got an arm. I think the kid's a baller. I think the kid's been made for this. And you know what? There are certain people that are bred to play the position of quarterback. And you look into Joe Burrow's eyes, and he's one of those guys. I mean, you look at him smoking that cigar after winning that national championship, and you say, that guy's a boss. That guy is an NFL quarterback. And you know what? And if it takes airing it out in his rookie season to try and give himself some wins or some respect, I'm for it. Maybe his, arm falls off when mechanics are bad. Joe Burrow has incredible mechanics, so I'm not worried.
Yeah, and to this is his time to show off a little bit. Next year is really the time, at least statistically, for quarterbacks in their second year. It seems like, they start making plays. You look at Kyler Murray, you look at, even Pat Mahomes. I mean, they really turn it on in their second year. Let's talk a little bit about going back to the World Series a little bit. Rob Manfred said that MLB was going to lose about $4 billion. And it looks like there's about $2.7 billion that are accounted for right now that they're going to lose. But what do you think, Whitney, going forward with the MLB next year? What do they got to do to get back some of this money? And what do you think about Rob Manfred in general? It looks like he was being booed on the field and maybe drunk, but he blames that on the echo in the stadium that he was hearing himself, so slurring his words a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know about the whole him being drunk thing, but in terms of like the losing the money, I mean, obviously the pandemic had a huge part to play in that. And I mean, there's nothing you can really do about that. That's more on, without getting too political, more on people just being safer in certain communities. And like I said, that's a whole nother conversation that I really don't want to get into. But um, they were still able to play a huge season, a small part of the season, and have fans at games, which again I don't necessarily agree with, but they were able to have some profit there. How they're able to get other profits other ways, I'll leave that for you guys to talk about. But um, yeah, I think the other part of the booing too was his comment during the whole cheating scandal about the commissioner's trophy being just a piece of metal. So he's that kind of had him as like a Roger Goodell moment where he gets booed at every Super Bowl. So he finally had his Goodell moment.
Yeah.
And I think one other thing that was mentioned too that was him being a fan of the expanded playoff, format the way it is this season. I don't know what you guys think of it, but I'm all for that. Having more teams being more competitive and giving more teams a chance to actually play on the big stage. And I think with a 162 game season, that will be definitely more interesting, and I don't know, it'll make divisions more competitive. But I'll let you guys take it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that like with the season in general, I think this year proved that they can maybe have a shorter season and make baseball a little bit more interesting to fans that haven't been watching it recently. Maybe you shorten up that season a little bit and you get more, more exciting games and that matter more. You get players like not just turning it in. I mean, it has obviously its implications on the bullpen and on players' health and everything like that, obviously by shortening up the season. But I don't know. I kind of liked the 60 game season. I kind of liked how that all played out, to be honest with you. It was cool to, obviously I want more sports if possible, but I'd rather see football had a few games rather than baseball have more games. But yeah.
Well, get ready to get lit up, my friend, because I am a baseball purist, and I don't believe in a 60 game season. I believe that part of the game of baseball is the aspect of playing 162 games, is the aspect of the endurance, of the off days, of the 4 or 5 day pitching off days that are built into it. Being able to do, I was a pitcher into college, and to be able to, a lot of these pitchers, why were they pitching 2 or 3 innings? Because their arms weren't built up enough, because they only threw 60 innings. You got to throw these innings to build up your arms so that your aces can throw 7 innings, 8 innings. You got guys like Justin Verlander. Now, he didn't make it deep. Clayton Kershaw, Garrett Cole of the Yankees made it deep. That man's throwing 8, 9 innings, period, whether or not you like it or not. And the simple fact is that they need that training, and 60 game season isn't going to do it for them. And the 3 batter minimum, it grew on me. I didn't like it at first, but it grew on me. It just but I don't understand. And I said this to Fives before, and this is gonna sound like a bitter old man. I'm only 28 years old, but if you don't like the game of baseball, then don't watch the game of baseball. And if you have all these problems with baseball, why are we trying to change it? We all love it. We don't want it to change, so why change it?
Mm.
And it's been a huge beef of mine since Rod Manfred went into office.
So what do you think about like having the guy on second after, extra innings?
You know what? Out of all the crap that they think, it's exciting. The 19 inning games can get tedious. I think it's a huge advantage to the away team. I think that you take away home field advantage when you do that. And, now if a guy leads off top of the 10th and gets a base hit, well, all of a sudden they're up a run. Now the home team's got to come back.
Yeah.
And that's not fair. The home team should have the advantage. So, there's but it is exciting. And for the playoffs, I'm for it. But that kind of crap in the regular season.
Yeah, maybe there's some way in the middle there. I'm not saying that a 60 game, just like the shorter season, exactly like is what they should have going forward, but maybe it's somewhere in the middle there that they keep the season a little bit more realistic because the argument that like guys need the longer innings, I mean, so then pitch more in the bullpen or get more practice. Like you don't have that in-game experience, but when a guy's throwing hard, he's throwing hard no matter who he's pitching to. He
Right.
can still get the workout like in, throwing to a catcher and a field wherever. He doesn't need to be in game to get the arm experience. But I do agree, like with the whole purist aspect of it, like, you can't please everybody. And maybe that's what Manfred's trying to do too much is like he's thinking of the dollar signs rather than just like it being America's pastime and just being the sport that like baseball fans really want to watch and just keep it that way. But all right, let's play our game. We'll play it's Boomer Bust Trivia. We got 3 players this week. Josh is on a heater, undefeated so far.
Let's go, baby.
Bullfight in trivia. Get it.
All right. So basically, Joey, and to everyone, I'll explain the rules, how it works. Basically, I'm going to ask a question to each of you. You have the opportunity to pick out of 3 players. We'll rotate it so it makes sense and it's fair. If you get the question right, you get a star player or someone that's going to score better in fantasy. If you get the question wrong, you have to pick from the lesser desirable players. And then we'll play fantasy football on Thursday night, see who gets the win. And we are sponsored by Ice Shaker. So check out the link or go to our page, our Cool Fan page, and you'll be able to find out the link for that. All right, we'll go with the first question. We'll go with Joey first because he is new to the game. Okay, so Joey, who has the better passer rating so far this season, Matt Ryan or Teddy Bridgewater?
Oh, that's Teddy Bridgewater.
Teddy Bridgewater is correct. So your options are Matt Ryan, Teddy Bridgewater, or Christian McCaffrey.
Explain this part again. I'm
Basically, you just decide who you want on your fantasy team. So it can either be Matt Ryan, Teddy Bridgewater, or Christian McCaffrey. If you pick Christian McCaffrey, he may come back this week, he may not. So that's obviously like a little bit of a.
We're gonna stick with my boy Teddy B.
Okay.
Teddy B is gonna be my quarterback.
Oh,
All right.
Bold move by the Bloomer. I would have gone McCaffrey.
Yeah, but he might not.
Though.
Yeah, that's a risky move if he doesn't.
I like to live dangerously. What can I tell you, boys?
Yeah,
Danger.
Well, I want. This is my first time. I want to win.
All right, let me just do something really quick.
This is what Joe Kelly thinks of your pick there, Joe.
Yeah, well, Joe Kelly, whatever.
He's got a ring. That's what he's got. He's got a ring now.
Very Eagles-like.
That is true.
That is the funniest shit.
Good boy, gets me a ring.
Okay, so we'll go with Josh next.
Oh boy. Pressure's on.
Okay. Who has more passing touchdowns this season? Teddy Bridgewater or Matt Ryan?
Wait.
Well, this
Matt
is a
Ryan.
themed question.
Okay, Matt Ryan is correct. Matt Ryan has more touchdowns this year. Got 12-8 touchdowns. Okay, so your choices are Matt Ryan, Christian McCaffrey, or you can pick from the B squad, Young Ho Koo, Joey Sly, or Halen Hurst.
I want to go Young Ho Koo just because that name's incredible. But I'll stick with Matty Ice.
Okay.
Glad you didn't go with the kicker.
I should have. That guy looks like the first baseman on the Rays. Same body type.
I was gonna say, look how that worked out for me last week.
It's a true story. You did go kicker first time last time, yeah?
Yeah, that's a mistake I'm never doing again.
Over the starting quarterback, but
yeah, over the quarterback, you went kicker. Bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it works for him.
Nope, not doing that again.
Okay. Who has more touchdowns on the season, Miles Davis or McCaffrey? Whitney.
Is Miles Davis like their third receiver? Running back.
Running
right?
back, yeah.
McCaffrey, definitely.
McCaffrey is incorrect. McCaffrey has been injured for a little while, so yeah, he doesn't have. So, your choices are Young Ho Koo, Joey Sly, or Halen Hurst. Or Hayden Hurst, sorry.
Oh, okay. I just realized Mike Davis was on the Panthers. Never mind. I was thinking he's on
Yeah,
the
I was saying
Panthers.
Miles Davis, but it's actually Mike Davis.
Yeah, I was like, Miles Davis?
I was so confused. Sorry, give me the choices again.
Young Ho Koo, Joey Sly, basically the kickers, or Hayden Hurst, the tight end.
Hurst.
Okay.
Never picking a kicker again.
All right. Okay, so we'll start with Whitney first. How many receptions did Calvin Ridley have in week 7, over or under 3?
Over.
Over with 5 is correct. So your choices are Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones, or DJ Moore.
Julio Jones.
Julio Jones.
Oh.
Big pick from Whit. Okay. Josh, how many targets did DJ Moore have week 7, over or under 3?
Over.
Over with 5 is correct. So your choices are Calvin Ridley or DJ Moore.
Give me DJ Moore.
Okay. Joey, how many receptions did Julio Jones have, over or under 5 in week 7?
Over.
Over is correct with 8 receptions. So you can either have Calvin Ridley, Curtis Samuel, Russell Gage, or Christian Blake.
Say the first two again.
Calvin Ridley, Curtis Samuel, Russell Gage, or Christian Blake.
We'll do Ridley.
All right.
Roll Tide, man.
Okay. Go. Who hasn't gone first yet? Josh. Who is faster, Mike Davis or Todd Gurley, according to their combine times? 40-yard dash. Who's faster?
Mike Davis.
So Todd Gurley is faster, 4.52. Mike Davis is 4.61. So your choices are Brian Hill, Ian Thomas, or Trenton Cannon.
Give me Ian Smith.
Okay, Ian Thomas. He's a tight end in
Whatever it
Carolina.
is.
Yeah, okay. All right.
I want that. I want Eon Smith. Make it happen, Ryan. Make
All
it
right.
happen.
I'll go into Madden, create a player for you, and put
There
him
you
on the
go.
field.
There you go.
Okay, Joey, who is taller, Robbie Anderson or Teddy Bridgewater?
Oh, Robbie's pretty tall, so I'm gonna go Robbie.
All right, you're correct. Robbie Anderson is 6'3", Teddy Bridgewater is 6'2". So your choices are Mike Davis, Todd Gurley, or Robbie Anderson.
We're gonna go Robbie Anderson for the Teddy Bridgewater. Robbie Anderson.
Okay. All right. Okay, so Whitney, last question. Who has a better vertical jump, Julio Jones or Robbie Anderson?
Julio Jones.
That's closer than what I thought, but yeah, Julio Jones does have a higher jump, 38.5 versus 37 or 36.5 actually.
Yeah, us
So
Patriots fans know that all too well from Super Bowl 51.
so your choices are Mike Davis or Todd Gurley.
Oh, that's tough, actually. You know what? I'm gonna go with Gurley.
Okay. All right, so the teams are as follows. Whitney has Hayden Hurst, Julio Jones, and Todd Gurley. Joey has Teddy Bridgewater, Calvin Ridley, and Robbie Anderson. And
Ooh.
Josh has Matt Ryan, DJ Moore, and the Ian Thomas character, tight end.
Love it.
So that's it for Boomer Bust. Check out the link in the description for check out Ice Shaker, our sponsor, the Boomer Bust Trivia. So we got 3 teams this week. You never know what can happen. It seems a little bit more even this week. You guys got a lot more of the questions right, so that's pretty good. How you feeling about your team, Josh?
Because I'm here.
I feel good about it. I feel relaxed and like I'm gonna win. The run continues.
Okay.
Eon Smith's gonna beast. Whatever his name is.
I feel good.
I mean, Joe's
All
team
right,
looks
cool.
pretty good.
All right. So that's going to do it this week for the Cruel Fan Sports Hour. Josh File, Whitney Downs, our special guest this week. Joey Bloom, thanks so much for joining us. It was great to have you. Great to have a little another experience on that. We're going to have to get him a new hat pretty soon, though.
Whoa!
And next week,
do people in Chicago give you crap for that anyway?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Just to give you a backstory, when I was a kid, Fies knows this. Fies is my guy. I'm a Derek Jeter obsession. When I was a kid, Derek Jeter was my guy. So, but I'm a diehard Bears fan, Bulls fan. You know all the Chicago stuff. I still love the Cubs, so I'm a Chicago guy. I just love the Yanks.
All right.
But
okay.
Respect the Red Sox. I don't disrespect the Red Sox.
All right, fair enough. Well, thanks for joining us this week, and thank you to all our watchers out there. Thanks for cheers.
Peace. We're still on the air. We're still live.
Just do a dance for me. I don't know how else to do it besides just